Corrupt government, a concept that we're all familiar with. It's so common, in fact, that few of us think that there's anything other than a corrupt government that exists. In 2010, the Supreme Court decided that corporations had the constitutional right to influence voters to the candidate of their choice, according to the Huffington Post 2013. So basically, Citizens United allowed corporations to spend unlimited amounts of money for or against candidates. Today, we'll talk about the effects of Citizens United and how it has affected our democratic government. Citizens United grants constitutional rights to corporations as they would a citizen. In other words, they are able to endorse a candidate and donate money to support their candidate. So, this rule basically says, according to the NY Times 2014, money equals speech. Wealthy spending by organizations and individuals poses no problem to the political system. Since the United since Citizens United was granted in 2010, the US saw the most expensive presidential election in 2012 according to the Washington Post 2014. Today we live in a social media world where we do not go a day, let alone an hour, without seeing some sort of advertisement. If we go on Instagram, we see somebody advertising for someone else or companies advertising their products. If we go on YouTube, there is a link before we watch the video, a commercial. We see ads on our way drive back home or to our destination. So corporations, the problem with Citizens United is that if large corporations have enough power and money to advertise, they have the power to advertise as much and as long as they want to. So, democracy by definition is a government by the people, and the Citizens United threats a problem to this because it allows for a corporation to fund money to a candidate of their choice. That means that this candidate gets more exposure. He or she is he's exposed more, so people are more familiar with them. They have more say and more free speech than other candidates. According to reclaimdemocracy.org 2014, when multi groups can spend whatever they want, they can make sure their message drowns out all other voices. So this creates an uneven playing field for all the other candidates. They don't have large corporations funding them, so they don't get enough airtime, they don't get enough speech time as other candidates who have large corporations. For example, if ABC decides to support, for example, a candidate, this doesn't mean that it's only going to be on Channel 7. ABC owns Disney, they have stake in ESPN, Miramax, Touchstone Pictures, and they also own 3 record labels. So this means that they have the potential power to put their candidates on kids shows, on sports commercials, movies, or the recording artists can also endorse their candidates. And it's not just this company that has a lot of corporations out there have holdings in a lot of things that the people are not so aware of. Time Warner owns a lot of magazines, a lot of popular magazines. They also own sports teams, so they are able to cover all these social medias and have a way or an outlet for their candidate, as opposed to people or those candidates who don't have the same funding. So this creates an uneven playing field and it threatens our democratic government because companies or corporations, they're going to endorse people who are in line with their agenda or their financial agenda, whatever that is. And this is according to the LA Times 2013. So a lot of the times we don't really, this was a proposition in 2010 and it was voted for it. So it is now in it's now something that's going on. So what we can do is we can make ourselves more aware. A lot of the times when we go to vote, we don't really look at all the propositions. We just probably look at the ones that are most talked about. and we don't really look at each proposition and say, well, this one looks good, this one is okay, how is this going to affect us? So what we can do is look at the propositions and say what and look how they're going to affect and what consequences they could have. And by being more aware of the propositions out there, we can make a more educated vote and keep our democratic government.